All right, let's dive right into what is basically a historical detective story. We're looking at the exact moment the Philippine Revolution just exploded into open rebellion. It's an event known as the First Cry, but as you're about to see, trying to pin down exactly when and where it happened, well, that's a real puzzle.
So, how does a revolution actually begin? Is it something that just simmers for years, or is there one big bang, that single explosive point of no return? For the Philippine Revolution, it was a defiant cry. But, and this is the interesting part, the story behind that cry is way more complex than you might think.
Okay, before we jump into the whole mystery, we kind of need to set this stage, right? We need to get a feel for the world that even created this moment. What was going on that made thousands of people say, you know what, enough is enough, armed struggle is our only option now? The main engine behind all this was a secret society called the Katipunan. By 1896, these guys were everywhere, operating in the shadows, building this incredible network of people all focused on one single powerful idea: getting independence from Spain. And let me be clear, this wasn't just some discussion group. Their goal was freedom, and they were absolutely ready to fight for it. Now, to really get why they were so defiant, you have to understand this one little piece of paper, the cedula. On the surface, yeah, it was just a tax certificate. But in reality, it was so much more. It was this constant physical reminder of Spanish control. Every single Filipino had to carry one, and it basically became the symbol for everything they hated and were fighting against. So you can see how this all builds up to a tipping point, right? It's like a three-step journey. First, you're a colonial subject, stuck carrying this sigilla. Then, you take a huge risk and make a secret pledge. You join the Katipunan. And that final explosive step, it's this incredibly powerful act of defiance, tearing up that very symbol of oppression. And that act, that's what we now call the First Cry. It is the turning point. It's the moment the Katipunan goes from being a secret society to an open rebellion. They're stepping out of the shadows, declaring war, and saying, we're all in. Okay, so we've established this was a huge, pivotal moment in history. But this is where our mystery really kicks off. Because if you were to ask a historian, hey, when and where did this first cry happen? Well, you're probably going to get a few different answers. I mean, it sounds like a simple question, doesn't it? But the answer is, well, it's anything but simple. The truth is, the exact location, the exact date, it's all still up for debate. And the reason for all this confusion, it's pretty straightforward, actually. The people who were there, the eyewitnesses, they all remembered it differently. And this is a classic problem for historians, right? They're trying to piece together this chaotic, super intense event based almost entirely on people's memories, often written down years after the fact. There's not a lot of official paperwork to go on. And, we all know how unreliable our memories can be, especially for something that's stressful. All right, let's play detective. Let's actually look at the evidence. We're going to go through the accounts from some of the key people who were there, and you're about to see just how wildly different their stories are. First up, we've got Dr. Pio Valenzuela. Now, this guy was a major player in the Katipunan, a real insider. You'd think his memory of the whole thing would be crystal clear, but here's the kicker. His own story didn't stay the same. Get this, in his first account, Valenzuela says the cry happened in a place called Balanzwak on August 26th. Simple enough. But then, years later, when he's writing his memoirs, he says, actually, it was in Pugadlawan, and it was on August 23rd. The same guy, two totally different versions of the story. This right here, this is the heart of the whole puzzle. And it wasn't just him. Check this out. Santiago Alvarez, he says it was in Bahay Toro on the 24th. Gregoria de Jesus, who is married to the leader of the revolution, remembers it being near Caloocan on the 25th. Then you have Guillermo Masankay, who claimed it was in Balintawak on the 26th. So that's 4 key eyewitnesses, and we've got 4 different dates and 4 different locations. It's a mess. And believe it or not, the confusion gets even deeper. It's not just about the when and where. You know that super dramatic image of everyone tearing up their cedulas? It's iconic, right? Well, it's only in some of the stories. Same thing with Andres Bonifacio's big, fiery speech, and there's even talk of a heated debate among the leaders right before, but only a couple of people mention that. So the very story of what happened changes depending on who you ask. Okay, so with all these conflicting stories, what are we supposed to do? What can we even believe? Does it mean the whole thing is just a wash and we can't know anything? No, not at all. It just means we need to shift our perspective and look for a
a different kind of truth in all this mess?
And that really is the crucial question, isn't it? If we can't pin down the exact day or the specific location, what can we say for sure? What is the absolute, undisputed truth at the center of this event that everyone does agree on?
Because here's the thing. While all the little details are fuzzy, the big picture, the essence of what happened, is crystal clear. We know for a fact that sometime in late August 1896, a collective decision was made to revolt. We know Andres Bonifacio's leadership was vital. We know it was a final symbolic break from Spain. And we know that this single event lit the fuse for a nationwide revolution. That stuff, nobody argues about that.
So in the end, the first cry is really this incredibly powerful symbol. As one historian put it, it's a testament to the Filipino people's unwavering pursuit of freedom and self-determination. And that, right there, feels like the real story. When you kind of step back and look at the whole thing, you start to realize that the event's real power. It wasn't about a specific address on a map or a date on a calendar. Its importance is so, so much bigger than that. See, the power wasn't in the where or the when. It was in the what. It was in that collective action, that shared promise from a group of people who decided all at once that they were done being ruled. That powerful symbol of crying out for freedom, that became way more important than getting all the little details exactly right. And that kind of leaves us with one final thing to think about. Of course, historians are always going to chase after the exact facts. But a story like this really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much do the precise, nitty-gritty details of a moment in history really matter when its impact was so huge, so undeniable, that it changed the course of an entire nation forever?